Hi, everybody. I'm very glad to participate in this workshop. It's excited for me because I participated earlier in Lisbon, in Germany, in Berlin, Eurachem conferences, and now via the Zooms, I participate in Georgia, as I can this pointed that such as. And I would like to share my little bit experience, sort of near the very professionals persons, near the professionals persons. My maybe presentations little bit, not more, but I will try share my experience concerning the quality control activities in microbiological testing laboratories, how can should be provide personnel and quality control persons should be planning the quality control activities in food testing laboratories concerned the microbiological testings, I mean. So, internal quality controls, what does mean? As you know, the internal and the external quality controls should be provided in laboratory, should be carried out in laboratory. What does mean the internal quality controls? It's validation processing. The process activities should be provided, should be carried out each laboratory planning of the accreditation processing for the be ensuring of the reliability of the results, and therefore validation processing should be carried out in each laboratory by personnels, by participants, personnels who provide the testing. The validation, what does mean the validation? Validation's procedure includes in a laboratory, in our laboratory, we use the spiked samples. Spiked samples, maybe our colleagues knows what does mean. This is the contaminated, any blank samples with a reference culture. And after this, after spiking, maybe after this, the laboratory personnel carry out any dilutions processing and estimate activate or carry out the reproducibility and repeatability processing and estimate of the standard deviations for each processing. This is the first step of the quality control, first step of the validation. The validation processing, as you know, it's a very big subject, big processing, but it is including of the quality control, internal quality controls. As I would like to inform you that such type of the quality controls concerned to the qualitative analysis. And as you know, microbiologists knows that in laboratory have quantitative and qualitative analysis, and for the qualitative analysis, also the laboratory should be provide any validation processing. But in these moments, using these terminologies, the laboratory should be knows the determine of minimum limit of detection, precision, specificity of the method, and sensitivity of the methods for the qualitative analysis. Some of the participants maybe knows that the laboratories for microbiological analysis, qualitative analysis, for example, salmonella, determination of the salmonella in food products, we can say that as example. And target of the laboratories detect at least one colony forming units, of the salmonella in a current sample. It's a sensitivity of the laboratory. It demonstrates of the sensitivity of the method, sensitivity of the laboratory. And therefore, the minimum lot limit of detection determination is very important in this procedure. Limit of detection is lowest amount of the analyte or culture that can be detected by the method of specified level of confidence. Precision, this is also the type of the quality controls, the degrees of coincidences with among individual tests obtained under current conditions. It's very also your every personal results should be nearest of the assigned value. This is the demonstrate of the precision of these laboratories competencies. Selectivity of the methods is the ability of the method to distinguish the target culture analyte from the matrix. It means that determination at the total number of negative results correctly assigned in the principal inspection. It means that during of the validation, you can analyze some of the samples with some negative results, and you should find and you should separate negative samples with the positive samples. It demonstrates of the selectivity of the your methods and of your activities. Sensitivity of the methods is ability of the method determining the target analyte to be determined. Yeah? There it means that determinant of positive samples, determination of the total number of positive cultures of colonies correctly assigned in the presumptive inspection. Validation of the quantitative microbiological testings, it means that repeatability and reproducibility, trueness and recovery. This terminology is, it means that the repeatability of the methods in laboratory carry out in same persons, same mediums, same conditions, same equipments, and parallel analysis. And it is among of the variability of the test results. This is the estimation for the estimation of the repeatability and estimate of the standard deviations of your repeatability ways. And reproducibility is a variability of results when measurements is carried out different conditions, different method, different personnel, different mediums, different equipment. What is this? Why we carry out these points? Because the laboratory, when interpreted, when gives protocols, test results, laboratory should be ensured, should be confidence in their testing results, and it's very, the results should be reliable, should be trueness, should be confidence in a final, and therefore this type of the quality controls have to be, must be provided in each laboratory, the laboratory which going to the accredited, etc., etc. And finally, I put on a presentation after getting the results from the repeatability and reproducibility, every laboratory personnel should be estimate of the standard deviation. And for the estimation of the standard deviation, we used this formula, SR formula, and then laboratory can be in a finally estimate from this SR formula, estimate of their measurement as uncertainty. Trueness is how close, it means that how close the mean of several number of measurement results to the true value or reference value. In these points, especially laboratories to use CRM, certificate reference materials, or spiked materials, using also the reference materials. Time by time, the laboratories should be provide such as the quality control in the laboratory, into laboratory. Recovery it's a ratio with reference results and number of microorganisms which have found it, especially when laboratory planning any validation processing, laboratory should be estimate recovery results also, and recovery results interpreted especially in a percentage, and this percentage should be compared with appropriate standards. As you know, there is a standards ISO 19036 standard, and all of the standard deviations, recovery figures, etc., should be compared the tables, the standards requirements, and then after then laboratory can be interpreted and laboratory demonstrated their competency and reliability of the results in finally. Results obtained and test materials, the same metrics could in principle correct the recovery was based on recovery found for the reference materials. Also for the recovery, we can use certificate reference materials and also the spiked sample using the concentration of blank sample comparing with McFarland standard. This is the specific moments. Maybe a microbiologist knows that instruction how to prepare the McFarland standards for the turbidity, for the determination of the concentration number of colony forming units in any samples. For spiking, I mean that. And sterility control. Every laboratory, time by time, should be provide sterility control in their laboratory. Sterility of the environment, sterility of the conditions, sterility of the mediums using equipments, etc., etc. And therefore, they have to prepare some of the procedure for this, and they have know that sterile mediums, which colors should be, which have to be in turbidity or not, etc., etc., in points, and provide this this quality control too. It's very important because it's prevented of the cross-contamination of the and interpretation of the false results preventions procedure. And therefore, this includes for the quality control moments also. Positive test guide. Positive test guide is using the reference materials. In our laboratory, these methods using for the new persons. When we get some of the new personals, we, for the acquaintances of these personals, any, I don't know, pathogenic microorganisms, we demonstrated the shape of the color of this culture to the new persons for the in the future, they have to interpret it, right determine the current target cultures. And therefore, for this, every laboratory should be kept in own laboratory certificate reference culture strains in the microbiological laboratories, such as Salmonella, Staphylococcus, etc., etc. And linearity controls. Linearity controls especially demonstrate of the how do you provide the decimal dilutions of the during of the processing, because every dilutions should be decimal dilutions should be linearity and should be compare each other. For example, if you have in decimal dilutions 134 or 325 colony forming unit, in second dilutions you should be found no more than 21, 20 to 30, no more than this colony forming unit. It should be demonstrated of your right dilutions in a food. And measurement uncertainty components. And in final of the quality controls, the laboratory should be take account the influences of the components, which influence to the measurement uncertainty, such as sampling, processing, the first of one, laboratory sample, also the influence to the measurement uncertainty, the matrix, subsample initial dilution, deviation, operator duration, equipment, also the influence to the measurement uncertainty. And in a finally, the measurement uncertainty is in a finally interpreted that, as you know, maybe any laboratory can provide, carry out the validation verification processing. After the determination of the standard deviations, all of the figures should be multiplied to the 2 after logarithmic 10 logarithmics processing, we should be multiplied 2, because K it's interpreted as a 2, 95% the confidence. And external control proficiency test. In external control proficiency test, it's including that proficiency test and interlaboratory comparisons test. Before my colleague, Mr. Brooklyn informed to us very useful, very important information about proficiency test providers, etc., etc. And I think that it's my opinion, it's my own opinion, every laboratory have to be participate in proficiency test processing, because it's the evidence, it's the ensuring of the competence of the laboratory, and this is the requirements of the accreditation body, results of the proficiency test, besides the internal control, such as validation, verification, processing. And this is the demonstrate of the also the reliability, demonstrate of the ensuring of the testings. I think that, and my recommendation to my colleagues, at least even 2 times per year, they should be participate in proficiency tests. And this proficiency test should be according to, as Mr. Brooklyn said, that ISO standard 17043 standards. And after this, getting this information, laboratory can choose PT providers for the participating in proficiency test. After the receiving the results, as you know, the results assessing the Z-scores figures, and Z-score figures laboratories, how they estimate the Z-scores, you can see on slides. X, it's a laboratory your results, which obtained results. Mu, this is the assigned value, which demonstrated after the enduring of the reporting of the proficiency test. And sigma, this is the standard deviation. Especially standard deviation can calculate from the all of the results which participated in laboratory in proficiency test laboratories standard deviation, and also laboratory can use own standard deviations too. And most popular of PT providers, we participate and we applied these PT providers such as LGC standard, EPTIS, FAPAS, FEPAS, Aquatec, and most of all we to get good results. And finally our laboratory, when I worked in laboratory. Approximately 45 our testings was accredited by DAX, and we checked, we receiving good results from the PG providers proficiency test too. Thank you very much. If you have any questions, please, I'm waiting. Thank you.